Hey there, music makers. I'm Hayes Griffin.
And I'm Magnus and Hayes.
And welcome to Mandolin Secrets Live, a bi-weekly show where we take a deeper look at what's happening in the world of mandolin secrets. Each episode will tackle our question of the week, unpack the latest mandolin secrets lessons, and answer your questions about mandolin, guitar, and all things music. In this week's episode, we'll be discussing our questions of the week. Do you have a song or tune that you're trying to master on the mandolin right now? And who has a funny, odd, or interesting mandolin story to tell? We're also going to be taking a look at the last couple lessons that we've released on Mandolin Secrets, a Monroe lick 10-minute challenge, a Bill Monroe lick that is, and then our lesson on Bluegrass Stomp. Before we dive into any of that stuff though, be sure to head to mandolinsecrets.com/live to sign up for reminders about our upcoming streams. If you can't tune in live, never fear, just search Mandolin Secrets Live on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe to get updates when we release a new episode.
Yes, and I'm really eager to dive into these questions. I'm actually having a song that I'm working on right now. But before going into this, there's one thing that I want to ask people, because I can see people also coming in straight in to watch this show live. And I want to ask you, are you the person, when you get this question, do you take the solo? Are you a yes or a no person? Please let us know in the comment section below here. I'm starting by asking you, Hayes. Are you a yes or a no person?
I have learned to become a yes person.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. I've learned to become a yes person. I think maybe in the first couple years that I was playing the mandolin, I was a little shy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't always jump on it. But these days, I feel like I owe it to myself to jump in and at least try something, you know, even if I'm not familiar.
I like that spirit, and I guess it's also like depending on who's asking the question, could be sort of, and also, yeah, I mean, the situation sort of, but I totally have the strong opinion, though, that the more often we say yes, the more fun we will have, and the more we will kind of improve actually, I want to answer this question a little more, like in a longer way, but that's actually attached to the. You were talking about this mandolin story, and I have a mandolin story that I want to share with you, and this, like, do you take the solo? That is like a major part of the whole story, sort of. So
I am very excited to hear that one. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned, like, it depends on who's asking if you take the solo, right?
Yeah.
I was teaching at a camp 2 years ago, and Daryl Anger was one of the fiddle instructors there, and we were having, like, a jam session afterwards, and he takes one of the most beautiful solos ever, and then, you know, looks to me like I'm next, and I'm like, no way, man, no way.
Yes,
so.
It's funny, but I guess it's a human reaction, but I totally say what you saying there. I can see Marianne is watching here, and she says she's not yet, she says, but yeah, maybe after hearing my story today, maybe Marianne will get a little nudge towards the yes answer
And be a little braver.
Yeah. But let's first start with this other question you had there. You were talking about like, what are we working in the practice room, or how did you frame it?
Yeah. The question, the way that I asked it was, do you have a song or tune that you're trying to master on the mandolin right now?
Yeah.
And we got a lot of responses for that one. Man, I think that was one of our longest threads on Facebook ever. Yeah, there was something like, the last I checked, it was like up at like 72 comments on there. Wow. So a lot of people have a lot of tunes that they're working on right now.
I get maybe I haven't like thought of it like that, but maybe it's like every mandolin player has something or some song they are working on at the moment, sort of.
Yeah, I think so. And if not. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry. But I said, no, I mean, because no matter where you are in the journey, if you're a beginner or advanced or somewhere in the intermediate, of course, there's some song that we want to learn.
Of course, right? Like that's I mean, I'm not going to speak for every musician ever, but most musicians play tonal music that involves songs or tunes. So theoretically, all of those scales and arpeggios that you're practicing are helping you with songs, right? So what are you working on right now?
I remember I saw the question that's 1 week ago, and at that time I was really working on one of my own songs that it's called Walls of the Dreams, and I was working to like make the sort of the optimized harmony for that song.
Yeah.
So and it's been like one of this the approach was a little bit going between just playing along with the song and doing some putting it on paper, looking at it from a more theoretical point of view. How does this work? And sort of, so it was a little bit going the back and forth, the actual paper and the mandolin. And but I have actually now recorded it, so I'm not sure if it was the best possible harmony, but it was efficient, so to say. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to sound great. Yeah, all of your stuff is awesome.
No, well, thanks for saying that. But also, because I mean, I'm now also really considering, because I want to teach this song. I want as many mandolin player as possible to play them. So I'm also like, because sometimes, you know, when you're making a harmony, it doesn't really stand by itself, sort of.
Yes.
But that also makes it very difficult to memorize, right?
Yeah, if you can't sing it by itself, or if it's not like a tuneful kind of thing, right, it doesn't stick inside your mind in the same way.
Exactly. And didn't you say that at some point, that if you can sing it, you can play it?
Yeah, that's one that I stole from my professors in college. They were really into that. A lot of the jazz guys that I worked with were very into that kind of mindset. I think they stole it from like Jamey Aebersold. Have you ever seen those like play along tracks and things like that?
Yeah.
I went to his camp one year, and that was kind of one of the main things that I kept hearing when I was there. But I think it's true, you know, at least for me, if and especially with like what you're talking about, if it's a part that it doesn't exactly lend itself to like sticking in your ears, if you sit down and learn to sing it, I feel like it helps it stick. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, there's so many like threads coming up here. I want to talk a little about Jamey Aebersold in a minute, because that was interesting. But also, I'm not sure if this harmony is like singable or not. But at least it sounds like a melody itself, not only like a complementary melody. And also, I say efficient harmony because I can play it both on the mandolin and on the octave mandolin. And
so it works also with the finger spacing. Is that what you mean, or?
Yeah, finger spacing, but also like. So the way I'm actually playing it on the octave when I recorded this one is kind of using fragments of the melody, or of the harmonies. Sorry. So like mixing more like some chordal strumming and then filling in with a little bit of this. Well, I'm not. I guess it's efficient for me also, so I don't have to do two different harmonies, but one harmony that I can use for many,
many different purposes. Yeah, I like that.
But I also like. Is his name James Aebersold or Jamey Aebersold?
Jamey Aebersold, yeah.
For me, I didn't know it was a real person, you know. It's like more like an could be like an brand or an
he's like Ronald McDonald or something like that.
Exactly.
That's funny.
But he's a real guy then.
Yeah, he's a real guy. Great saxophonist. He played with all the the instructors at like staff performances when I was there, so I can attest that Jamey Aebersold is a real person.
I like that. And how about was there any other like interesting answers in the post that you want to point out?
I mean, I just want to point out that it's really cool to see how diverse our community is on Facebook, because I'm scrolling down here now. These are just like random answers, but as far as tunes that people are working on, we've got In the House of Tom Bombadil, Drowsy Maggie, Dog's Breath, a David Grisman kind of...
Tom Bombadil, is that a Chris Steele song?
Yeah, and then someone else said that they were working on another Chris Steele tune. Which one was that? Oh, Wolf Creek Pass, that really fast one in F sharp. And then Stomping at the Savoy, so like we're going into like swing music on that, the Bach cello suites. So lots of great kind of answers all over the place here, and challenging pieces too,
Really, it really sounds like that. And for
definitely.
yourself, is there something you're working on?
Yeah, so I actually, when I posted this, I was kind of more in the Stomping at the Savoy camp and stuff like that. One tune that I was really trying to get down last week, it's not exactly a swing tune, but a lot of people do it, is Tiku Tiku. Yeah, I was trying to play the melody to that because a lot of the gypsy jazz guys that I play with over here really like to play that song. But I find that one to be very challenging.
Yeah, I think I heard it like a Jethro Burns recording of that one, right?
Yeah, I think he made that popular in the mandolin world for sure.
Yeah.
But I've been beating my head against the wall trying to play that one lately.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I like that. And I also know you've been publishing. I really liked the Monroe lessons. It's like a series of lessons that you released the last couple of weeks, right?
Yes. So the first one, I guess, would be a bit of a teaser, right? We had a 10-minute challenge inside of the Mandolin Secrets community that I released, where I took a lick out of a version of Bill Monroe's Bluegrass Stomp, a live cut, because I remember hearing this lick a couple years ago and was like, wow, I think you can use that everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So made a lesson where we kind of take a little piece of his melody and then show folks how to use that to create like a solo with kind of a theme to it, So did that one and then followed up with a melody lesson on the original Bluegrass Stomp. I kind of played a modified version of it, but
yeah, I think it's I really love both these videos. I think I told you that a couple of years ago I actually wanted to learn this tune. I was preparing for a concert with the mandolin buddy of me, BJ Lazarus. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know BJ?
I've heard the name. Yeah, I don't know him personally. That's cool though.
Yeah, we met at the symposium in 2005. A fantastic mandolin player and really nice guy. And so I was preparing for one of our concerts, and I want to check out Bluegrass Stomp because I kind of somehow knew it as all these tunes, and of course I went to YouTube to search for it, and I did find some little guidance there, but I think I was probably learning more from listening to the Bill Monroe recording that I had. But here's the thing. I think I was kind of searching for the kind of lesson that you just put out there.
Oh man, that means a lot to hear.
Yeah, but that's I really like it. So that you're actually, first of all, showing how to play the melody, but not only that, taking like one step or even two steps further by showcasing the downstroke technique, and also this way of playing it closer to the bridge, or getting this more like an authentic Monroe sound, sort of. So really good work there.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, man. That means a lot. I feel like, I don't know, some of this stuff was kind of a mystery to me when I started learning it. Like, how does Monroe get that sound and all those things? So the way that I taught it was almost the way that I had to break the tunes down myself to kind of be able to play it in a way that sounded right, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's important to get, like, we've talked about this before, the skeleton melody, right? Or like the kind of important notes from a melody down first, and then kind of go back and refine it with some of those specific techniques that Bill himself would use to make it sound a little more authentic.
Yeah, of course. And I also, I mean, I even learned this lick, like you just said, that we use for as a little teaser almost. And I want to, like, I think it's such a great concept also to kind of bring a little melody out of a piece like that and play around with it as you are doing here, putting into like a 12-bar blues or something like that. And to give the listeners an idea what it's like, I'm going to play that back for us.
Yeah, great.
That's okay. And then you can just put in words how you can create something like this. So here it comes. Yeah. It's a little Monroe lick over a 12-bar blues. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, so I think the thing that stuck out about this lick to me initially, you know, we were talking about, you said it's a good idea to take bits of a melody and then use them to kind of craft a solo or something like that, right?
Yeah, and I mean also, because here you're not like taking any melody or sort of, you're kind of being inspired by Bill Monroe, who, well, we're going to the root of bluegrass mandolin, sort of. And
exactly.
Like, looking in there for some treasures, sort of.
Yeah, the way that I see it, it's like when you hear someone say a really interesting word that you don't quite understand. You know what I mean? It like pops out and you're like, I want to learn that word and learn how to use it in a conversation, you know? And that's exactly what happened with this. I almost think about this as like just a musical bit of vocabulary. And after I transcribed it and wrote it down, it made so much sense why this one popped out to me, because it's just like for those of you out there who are wondering, you know, like, how do I pick things like this out of solos, or like when I'm listening to Bill Monroe, like what should I be listening for? This lick, it just outlines the chord. It's the first four notes in the chord are the four notes in a D7 arpeggio, D, F sharp, A, C. So he kind of builds his little lick around that and then plays some scale notes afterwards and stuff. But I think that's why it popped out to me as a really colorful lick, because it was so it gives the listener such a clear idea of what chord you're playing over top of at that point in time.
Yeah, for sure. And I also, you have a very good name, like, I learned this word from you, or phrase, or what, term probably. You call it like this, like a digital pattern.
Yeah, digital pattern, digit meaning like digits as in numbers, you know?
And so that is like one way to explain this. It's a digital pattern, and the numbers are 1, 3, 5, 7, so kind of like that, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I think, not to keep steering the conversation back here, but the first time I heard about digital patterns was at the Jamey Aebersold camp. Yeah, so it's a really common jazz thing, because it allows you to kind of relate chord tones to whatever chord you're playing over top of at that point in time, you know?
Yeah.
So like when you're over the D7, it's 1, 3, 5, 7. But when you switch to the G, your 1 changes to a G note instead of a D note, but the pattern remains the same.
Yeah, I this is exactly the way I also approach like a chord sequence and for outlining. But I didn't have the vocabulary like that. But that's something I'm also started to use, actually, digital pattern. I think it's a very good way of naming it.
Yeah, I found that concept to be very useful for myself, for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, and if someone listening and haven't learned this lick, I think you should check it out. It's just a YouTube search away, and go into Mandolin Secrets YouTube channel and search for Monroe lick or something like that, and you will find it.
Yeah, it's I think it still pops up when you search Mandolin Secrets as one of our most recent lessons, since it was only 2 weeks ago. So
yeah,
check that
out. I think it's even one of our most popular ones. From seeing the stats on that, it's performing very well.
That's good. Hopefully, it's useful to a bunch of people then, if that's the case.
Yeah, and even this is geeky stuff I'm going into now, but we can even see on YouTube for the duration of someone watching a video, and we get like an average watch time of a video. And the duration of this one is very long, far longer than many of our other videos. So that really means people are watching it, if not to the end, but most of the time, far into the video, so to speak. That means they are learning the lick.
That's so great. I'll have to. What I want to say, I'll have to analyze what I did in this lesson that made it that good then.
I can tell you here right now, I mean, I think people, you have the ability to actually break down like things that seems complex, but breaking them down into like chunk bite pieces that people can understand. And even in this specific lesson, you're also taking it a little bit further, where you're actually explaining how to play it in closed position and things like that. But for people that are not ready for that, they will just leave that thing out and stay with the first concept you explained there.
Yeah.
So I think
that's cool.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, it's a very good piece of educational content.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. And I'll say to anyone listening, too, if you find yourself looking at these lessons, Magnus brought up a really good point there. Like, if you find yourself listening to a lesson and then it gets to a point where you're like, whoa, that's way over my head, but I understood what was going on in the first half, that's a great place to stop and just kind of sit with that bit of information that you do understand, because it's useless to kind of beat your head against the wall if you're not quite ready for it yet. You know what I mean? Absorb what you can and then come back to it the next day or the day after and see if it makes a little more sense. I know that's really helped with me. I part of what we do here is to kind of, like Magnus has said in past podcasts, provide some inspiration for you and guidance through this wild mandolin journey. So I think that's a good tidbit. Yeah,
that's a very good advice, because also for us making the content, we often like want it like that. So the entry point is quite low, but for the good lessons there's an acceleration, or how would you but I mean, you can take the things that we're learning, you can develop it into like the next level and next sort of.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's like a cumulative or something like that.
Yeah,
you know?
And that, I think it's like built into this thing that we are doing, which is like online teaching. If we were sitting in the same room as a student, we will probably not do it like that, because then we can easily follow the needs and the suggestions of the student in front of us. But when we're like doing like pre-made lessons, that is like a natural way to do it. So the entry point is quite low, but like gradually increase the level a little bit. So that people can get something out of it even if the students are at different points in the journey, so to speak.
Exactly. I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. All right. You had one, also another question we were talking about in the group.
Yeah, this one, I was excited to see what came up with this one. So this past week's question of the week was, who has a funny, odd, or interesting mandolin story to tell? And please share in the Facebook thread. And that one had fewer replies. You know, I think there were, only 16 replies on here, because that's kind of a niche question to ask. But
yeah,
I was really interested to see what happens. I know that Elliot Brenner, who's actually tuning in with us right now, he had a really cool one where there's a picture of Jethro Burns holding and playing his mandolin, the mandolin that Elliot owns right now.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was pretty sweet.
Wow.
Good job. Nice flex there, Elliot. Good job, man. And then Karen, someone gave her a free Segura mandolin, like all these kind of cool things. So it's really neat.
Wow. I like that. I'm not sure if I understood the question just right, but it can be. Can I answer it in a way that it's also like a mandolin story? It doesn't have to be the specific instrument. It can be more.
I think the way that I tried to ask it was to leave it open-ended. You know what I mean? So that even if it was like you had a weird interaction with a mandolin player or something like that, you know, or anything like that. So, I'm really excited to hear your story, man. So,
yeah, because really, this is good. It's going to be a little bit personal, this story, but here's the thing. I got so many stories related to my mandolin playing, to my instruments. And the simple reason for that, for more than half of my life, since I was 19 when I first picked up the mandolin, this little instrument has almost dictated my life. It has kind of steered me where I've been living, the people that I hang out with, the girls I met. I mean, all these things is kind of, in one way or another, this little instrument has been part of it, you know.
Yeah, so it's almost like your whole life is a mandolin-related story, right?
Sort of. Kind of like that, I would say. And I have actually a friend who wrote a song about that. I can't, very quickly translate it into English, but I think a lot of musicians can relate to that. It's like your instruments and your music, it's like a partner, sort of, that you're doing this travel along with, sort of.
Agreed. Yeah, it's why so many people name their mandolins and stuff like that, right? It's almost like it's a part of your family.
Yeah. And really, I wanted the story that I was thinking of. It's like a life-changing thing that happened to me. This goes back to 2009, so 12 years ago, and it's really started with that question: do you take the solo? I was really hesitating. I was there in the studio with this. I was new in this band. It was me and this other guitarist and the band leader and also a vocalist. We were 4 there, and also the technicians, of course, because this was even in a recording situation. You know,
man, so double the pressure of everything, right?
And I, as I said, I used to be the one of course I take the solo, but I was hesitating. And the thing, if I had said no at that moment, I'm not sure if I would sit here right now.
Seriously?
I said yes. I'm not sure if my kids would be here. I'm not sure if I would live in this city.
Whoa, that's a pretty big moment, man. You took the solo, I take it then, right?
I took the solo. And really, have you seen this movie? I think it's called Sliding Doors or something like that. It's like when this woman who if she catches the train, she will she would like, her future looks one way. If she misses the train, the future looks another way.
Yes, I've totally seen that movie. It's Gwyneth Paltrow, I think, is in that movie, right? Yeah. Yeah.
So this is my sliding door moment, really. I didn't know it back then, of course, because then it was just do you take the solo or not? But so to give you a little backstory, and here's the good thing: since I was in the studio, I even have the solo recorded. So I'm gonna play it to
you. Yeah, we gotta hear that, man. We gotta hear that. It's the moment. Here it is.
But let me very quickly. I will try to make it quick, this story. So this 2009, I graduated from my music college in 2007, and doing my very, very best to actually make a profession as a musician. And the thing that really helped me when I got out of school, I was involved in a lot of theater shows, playing a lot of theater music, and with the mandolin and the guitar, of course. But also I had the band going with Nordic things. But what I also did, I was like sitting in and playing backup to a lot of different singers and all that. And there was I remember and also this time I was like living in the downtown Stockholm area, really the hipster area of Stockholm, renting a room there with a guy, and I was going to concerts and jam sessions, if not every day, but like every second day. So I was really living this as a young musician in the center where it was happening, sort of. And so I was the guy that I was renting the room from. He was into Tai Chi. So these 2 years, 2009, 2010, it's all about like mandolin playing, Tai Chi, and a bit of girls, I would say. That's what my life looked at that moment.
I love it.
Yeah, and I one evening went to a friend's concert. There I met other musicians, of course, and there was one woman there who were a band leader, and she had at that moment was like very successful, had a band with 4 people, and one of her guitar players had some other gigs. So she asked me, but you're not only playing mandolin, right? You do play guitar as well? Yeah, I play guitar, as I said. Well, I have we're doing like 4 concerts here in the end of this month, and maybe you want to try to sit in my band. And of course. And I was like practicing like crazy, learning all the songs. We went there, played the gigs. It was fantastic. And then the same band was going to record an album. And I wasn't like part of the band, but people can probably relate to this, like when you really, because I wanted to get more gigs. I wanted to like play with musicians like this. They were a couple of years older than me and more established, sort of. So I said, if you want some mandolin on this record that you're about to make, I can actually come. I can do it for totally free, because I love hanging out with you. And so I kind of sneaked into this recording session with my mandolin, and because they, of course. And here's the thing: the record they were putting out. The singer is Malin Foxdal, and she made a record with like translations of Gillian Welch songs.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, so it's a Swedish language, and I have listened a lot to Gillian Welch and David Rawlings, and I also thought that I know the mandolin will suit into this music.
It's perfect for it, right?
Yeah. Perfect for it. So I was. So I got in and we recorded the album. It was like 10 to 12 songs or something like that. We were all happy about that. Then Malin came back and there was 2 more songs that she wanted to record. And she asked me, and she was really fond of this instrument that I played because she didn't heard the octave mandolin before this.
Okay.
This is just the time where I started to play octave mandolin. So she said, for these 2 songs, we're going to do it in a smaller setting. It's going to be you. Maybe you can play that octave mandolin, and then the other guitarist, Mattias Perez. You can hear I'm getting fired up here, but
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever met Mattias Perez, Hayes?
I have met Mattias.
You have met.
Yeah, back when you and I met. It was, I think, that same tour.
Ah.
Yeah. Because we were in Sweden for like 2 months at that point, and just kind of traveling around and stuff. But yeah, Mattias is great.
He's great, and I really think you can connect because he wasn't at the festival when you and me met, right? But
no, it was at a different one. Yeah.
Perfect. And for someone that's not know, Mattias Perez is an amazing Swedish guitarist, and I think I didn't know if you knew him, so my way of like very quickly explaining it, because you know Roger Tallroth.
Yes,
he's like the king of folk guitar in Sweden. Roger Tallroth of Väsen. And I would say Mattias Perez is the crown prince, sort of.
Yeah, yes. He's his right-hand man, right?
Yeah,
that's great.
And at this point, I mean, I didn't know Mattias that well. And also that, as we said, when if it kind of relates, who asks the question, like, do you take the solo or not? So I was really respecting him. And we came, so now this is the day for the additional recordings, the 2 songs. And one of the songs is this "Everything is Free Now" by Gillian Wells. Everything is free now, that's what they say. And in Swedish, it's translated to "Allt är fritt nu." And we're starting to like try it a little bit. And he like looking at me and say, "You take the solo, right?" And I was like, "Okay, do I want to take the solo or not?" Yes, of course. Yeah, I take the solo. Just give me. I can't remember if it was Mattias or Malin who asked me, but I took the solo, and it was one of these moments where it really worked well. It feels like sometimes you're kind of locking in with the music, sort of. So yeah. So and listening back to it, it's not like an amazing solo or anything, but I was able to kind of capture. I kind of got the David Rawlings touch to it, with at the same time like doing my thing, sort of.
Yeah.
So and. It was like a first take. We were all playing live, and we go back, and everyone felt like this was a really good take. And the thing is also, it hadn't worked totally smoothly while recording all the 10 other songs. But now in the smaller setting with this, so we felt like this is it. We can't do it better than this. So we go back into the, like you do, into the control room to listen back to it. We start listening to it. And then there's the little solo break. It's something like 32 bars or something like that. Yeah. And we're all like listening to my solo. And then Malin she like turns around, and I can see like her happy eyes, sort of, and she goes straight up to me and gives me a kiss.
I think that definitely wins out of all mandolin stories that we've heard on the thread here today. That's amazing, man.
And I was really shocked by her reaction, and because so here's the funny part of this story is Malin is today my wife. And I up to that, and even when that happened, I was, blushing, I was really embarrassed by the whole situation, and she a little bit as well, but that was not really the start of our relationship, because that will take a couple of months later. But I remember going home from the studio that evening, and it was like I was like so like kind of proud of myself and really satisfied with what I had accomplished. And I remember I said to myself, the thing that I recorded today, that's something. This is like a milestone for my musical career.
Yeah.
And I thought, and the way my mind was like continuing is like, someone will hear this and they will kind of maybe, because there was a couple of other singers that maybe they can hear it and they would want me in their band. Sort of, that was what I was thinking.
Yeah. It's like, or this singer will hear it and want to marry me. So yeah. That's great.
And then later, actually, Malin told me that she kind of fell in love with me during that studio session.
That's like a fairy tale story right there, man. Like I love it,
Yes. And I asked, so, you want to hear the solo then?
We got it. After that story, we have to hear the solo. Come on, man.
Yeah, and I mean, I was saying it before everyone. I mean, well, no, I shouldn't like try to make myself smaller than I am, but just like listen to it, and we can, no more, no less than that. Here it is.
Yeah, let's do it.
So it's a couple of verses, and then we go into the little solo. I played it on my octave mandolin. And remember, the thing that I was in my mind, of course, all these other things, but I kind of was searching to tap into a little bit of the David Rawlings, his way of approaching these songs. So let's see if you can hear that.
Yeah.
Sen är det slut, att sakta men säkert bara dö ut.
That is, dude, if you hadn't told me that you were like going for a David Rawlings thing, I would have said that.
Really?
In reaction to it. That is, you captured the essence of that man's playing absolutely in that moment, in my opinion. And just those like repeated motives, like where he hangs on a note and just gives it to you 8 times in a row, and leaves some space and all that kind of stuff. That's beautiful, my friend. No wonder she kissed you.
Thanks. Yeah, and I think it's also there's some, because I also love the way he's using some chromatics, and not only like very quick passing tones, but also some chromatics that almost clash to the chords at some point, but so yeah.
Yeah. No, that's perfect stuff, my friend. I love it. Well, that's definitely my favorite story.
That yeah, and but yeah, and really, as I said, yeah, I'm not sure how my life would have been if I mean, the whole. I think this little story here represents how me meeting Malin and then building a family and all that. But it really, as I said, there's so many moments where, like, the music and my mandolin playing has kind of, it's just connecting one moment after another. It's like what is this? Chain of different events.
Yeah.
And it's, I think, and that's really, for me, that's one of the beauties with the playing music and now for me it happens to be the mandolin, but I guess like for anyone that is involved, that is how, well, yeah, you get the point.
Yeah, it's whatever you choose, right? That's beautiful, man. So the moral of the story today, right, is take the solo. Right? Yeah, take the solo. That's simply, to anyone listening, take the solo.
Yeah. Here's Karen says the pivotal moment.
Yeah, she's totally right.
It was a really pivotal moment. Yeah, I'm glad I had the courage to do it.
Me too, my friend. I couldn't, I couldn't think of a better way to end today's episode. That's like an absolutely inspiring and beautiful story.
Yeah, thanks for that. Also a little bit of love coming into the world of Mandolin secrets.
Everybody loves a love story, man. You know that? That's
oh, thanks. Ian is with us. Great conversation. You say thank you very much. Marianne, beautiful music. So much fun. Glad I joined in today. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining us for the live call today. We have a new one coming up in 2 weeks, of course. And I'm not sure if there is anything more to add here. Do you got any? Want to bring out the finishing line, Hayes? Or?
Yeah, we'll do it right here. So, like Magnus said, we'll be back in 2 weeks for another show, folks. So, in the meantime, head to mandolinsecrets.com/live for more information on how to keep up with the show here. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next show. Until then, stay inspired and take the solo.
Take the solo and be a music maker.
Exactly. See you next time.